My name is Coach TJ. I'm an LPGA Life member. I have academies in Henderson, Las Vegas, Nevada, and in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I have been playing golf since the age of 12. I've been a junior golfer, amateur golfer, professional golfer, and a collegiate golfer. I played at University of Washington. I played number one there for 3 years. And then that's when, as a freshman, I became a teacher at the University of Washington. And that's where I became passionate about teaching. So our academies really specialize in university placement in the sense of getting kids ready from a golf standpoint, but also from an academic standpoint. We teach kids from age 5 to 18 to help gain entrance to their university of their choice. So today I have my esteemed co-host, Coach Michael Hughes, who has just retired from the Brown University for the last 17 years, and you've had an esteemed career. Coach Hughes started his PGA playing and pro career at PGA National, where he learned and met the likes of Dr. Gary Wiring and Jim Flick. And he also met the esteemed Ken Venturi, who was the 1964 U.S. Open champion. Coach Hughes then became the Ken Venturi Academy Director of Golf for 6 years in Chicago, where then he was coerced into becoming the assistant coach at DePaul University. Then they decided to have a worldwide search for Brown University, and he led the coveted Brown University team for the last 17 years. Coach Hughes, we've really done a lot of idea camps together, both in Vancouver and in um, Ireland. And then also you and I took the 8 Ivy League coaches, Northwestern and Duke, to China in 2017. It's hard to believe it's been that long ago.
Well, thanks, ESC, TJ, for having me on here for with such an esteemed guest. Yeah, it doesn't seem like very long ago that we were boarding an Air Canada flight to Shanghai from Vancouver. But I'm very proud of the work we did over there. We're at the time we were kind of at the forefront of junior instruction to the Chinese student athletes. I think part of what we've done is coiled into Haotong Ling, who just finished Haotong Lee, I'm sorry, who just finished second at the British Open at Port Rush. So golf is on the forefront in China, and it was very gratifying to me as a coach and a teacher to get over there and work with some of these young children. But I'm excited to be here today and eager to hear what Coach Skip has got to say about Division III golf.
Yeah, our webinars were really for parents and student athletes to really find the navigation between NCAA and NAIA Division I, II, and III. And Coach Skip, we're super happy to have you here today. Love you and love Whitman College. So for those of people out there that don't really know your background, can you give us a little bit of history?
Sure. Well, thanks for inviting me to the webcast. Coach Hughes, nice to meet you via Zoom. I've heard many stories from TJ about you, and most of them are positive. So, uh,
Just
so,
most.
um, so I'm at Whitman College, which is in Walla Walla, Washington, about 400 miles southeast of where TJ had her Zone Golf Academy up in Vancouver, BC. I think it was at Burnaby that it was actually.
Richmond.
Yeah. And so this is the last year that I'll be at Whitman College. But my wife also works at Whitman College. She teaches environmental studies and has been up to TJ's camps on a couple of occasions. And so we're just completing a 32-year stint at Whitman. So my first 14 years at Whitman were coaching men's basketball, and the last 18 have been with the golf program. The first 10 of those was exclusively with our women's golf program, and the last 8 have been overseeing both the men's and the women's golf program. So I grew up in Eastern Washington, played at Gonzaga University, and actually played both basketball and golf at Gonzaga, which is somewhat of a unique combination at the NCAA Division I level. And following my time at Gonzaga as a student athlete, immediately went into coaching, and so last year was year 50 in the coaching ranks, and so I think 19 of those were prior to Whitman, and then last year was our 31st at Whitman. And so the 19 years prior to Whitman College, it was about half and half. I was at the high school level at three different high schools in Montana, and was coaching both men's and women's basketball as well as men's and women's golf. And then the other high school I was at was Gonzaga Prep in Spokane for 5 years in the mid 80s. And then I was at five different Division I institutions collegiately, University of Montana, Gonzaga University, Washington State University, Santa Clara University, and Colorado State University. And those roles, I did coach both golf and basketball at Gonzaga, and the other four schools it was basketball only. So that's an introduction by way of 50 years of a profession that all three of us have been very fortunate to be in.
Wow.
Well, that's a pretty impressive resume there, Skip. I mean, you certainly don't look to be that old a man where you could have been teaching for 50 years, but
Yeah.
congratulations on a wonderful career.
Well, it's as I mentioned, I think we're all fortunate to be involved in something that we love.
Truer words are never spoken. Well, okay, while you were talking about the Division I programs and where you are now, could you maybe touch upon the difference for our listeners, the difference between a Division III school and a program in Division I, if you could?
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is the opportunity. I think for student athletes who are elite level players, certainly all three divisions would be within their capability of being able to compete at that level. Um, but Division III traditionally offers a little bit more opportunity for students who are perhaps not at the elite level. And so when you talk about the elite level, it's somewhere around par, somebody who can go out and play even par, occasionally break par in competition. I would consider that an elite level player, and so that player should and their family should definitely have Division I, II, and III, as well as NAIA and junior college, have it on their radar. But Division III would allow players that, let's say their stroke average is 80, for example. If their stroke average is 80, they would be a very legitimate candidate to play Division III golf on the women's side. And on the men's side, you could probably take that down, a couple strokes, a stroke average of 78, 77. And then there are certainly for players who are developmental players who are saying just learning the game and you know breaking 100 and then breaking 90 and getting to the point where they can break 80. There's still plenty of opportunity to play collegiate golf, but it might start more at the junior college level as opposed to the 4-year level.
No, very well spoken.
Okay. Very, yes. So if you're looking at a Division III, either a woman or a man, like a young, grade 9, 10, 11, what do you look for in a student athlete?
Well, it's a nice balance. We use the word balance, religiously when it comes to academic and athletic balance. And so in recruiting student athletes, that elite level that I talked about, we certainly deal with elite level students. And so TJ is very aware of three young ladies that we've had from Vancouver, BC.
Coach Hughes has met them all three too.
Yeah, so this is the Sadu family. So all three were just absolutely exceptional students, um, and good solid players. And so the in terms of what we look for, that was when I was exclusively coaching on the women's side. And we look for outstanding student athletes is a great place to start. And you notice that the word student is first. And so an individual and typically a family that's very passionate about and committed to educational values and goals. And so that's kind of where we start. And then ideally, the excellence is as good on the golf side as it is on the academic side. And we're fortunate to, we've had some players go through our program who have been offered Division I scholarships and have decided not to go that route, primarily because they wanted to keep academics clearly on the front burner, and they wanted to have the student athlete, have the student aspect of their experience be a little bit more prominent than golf, even though they were high level players and look forward to competing at a high level, being in a program where it was taken seriously and players they're high caliber players working hard to continue to get better. And so we've had some special student athletes from a golf standpoint go through our program, but then also we've had plenty of players who wouldn't be at that elite level. And like I mentioned, maybe their stroke averages high 70s or low 80s or even mid to high 80s, who have still been able to participate and get that great student athlete experience.
I'm just going to follow up on TJ's question here, without getting too much into specifics. What are some of the things that you look for as a coach to a prospective student athlete? Do you utilize the internet? Are you out there watching them play? Are there camps you go to? What tools do you have as a coach that you can get in front of these people and see what kind of decision you're going to make for them?
Well, we don't have a huge recruiting budget, so as a result, I mean, I've been involved with my experience with Division I men's basketball. We had recruiting budgets where I would travel nationally and internationally to see players play firsthand. Um, and so at the Division III level, our recruiting budget isn't such that I travel to the extent that I used to travel when I was working as an assistant coach at the Division I men's basketball level. And so as a result, I see players play regionally. We keep real close tabs with, for example, the Washington Junior Golf Association with their tournaments, and we have one of their tournaments played here locally every year, and I go to their state championship on a regular basis. I go to the high school state championships, and so it's more regional. We take being in the state of Washington, we feel like we're responsible to be aware of the best players in the state, especially the best players who are outstanding students, who are perhaps in that category where they want to keep academics even more on the front burner than golf. So those are the events we go to tend to be in the Northwest. A tournament I have gotten some very good players out of. Traditionally, I'll go down the first week of December and go to the AJGA Senior Showcase down in Las Vegas. So that's the outlier there as far as getting out of our region a little bit, and that tournament has treated us very well. In fact, next year we'll have on our women's side of our half of our roster will have participated in that tournament. So
Nice.
Oh, that's interesting. Picking on that, back on that, do you also look at people's swing video too?
well, we really enjoy when we get videos. One of my favorites is out of the Northwest Golf Academy over in Seattle, where they do a really nice job of walking us through a player's development in terms of, they'll go through the bag a little bit, and they'll go both from the shooting angle down the line as well as face on. That gives you a really good sense of not only where the player is right now, but the work that they've been doing with that particular golf professional. So yeah, we do. We love having video, but as I look at our rosters, it's less than 50% of the players in our roster are here because of video of them that I've studied. It's been more the hands-on, seeing them play and talking to their either their coaches or their golf instructors.
Okay. Chronologically, what's the ideal age, do you think, for a junior golfer to get on your radar?
Well, we again, Division III, we recruit a lot of players. We'll recruit players, like I mentioned, the tournament in Vegas. They're going, they're
Rising senior.
seniors,
Yeah.
and it's December of their senior year. And so we'll get involved with players as late as that. We tend to not get overly involved too early. We certainly recruit juniors, but I don't involve myself a lot with sophomores and freshmen, just because there's just so much tournament play that they still have in front of them, and so we typically concentrate pretty heavily on the senior class and then the junior class. And so in Canadian terms, grade 11, grade 12.
Yes. And would you
Well,
also, go ahead, coach.
excuse me a second. I was going to say, I would imagine that with the high academic standards that you have there, a lot of times, isn't it, you can't get involved too early because of the testing. They haven't tested yet, some of them.
Yeah, and we have become test optional, and that's test optional. It helps with certainly with players who haven't taken multiple SAT and ACT and TOEFL exams, that kind of thing. But it's for student athletes and families out there. Test optional has loosened things up a little bit, even at the highest academic level. It's not unusual for Ivy League or a league that's very similar to the Ivy League at the Division III level is the NESCAC with Amherst, Williams, Middlebury, and that crowd. And it's not unusual for them to be test optional as well.
Yeah, I think that you're going to find test optional is going to be the norm throughout the NCAA. I was going to ask you, do you use the portal at all, the transfer portal?
We're using it more. I just noticed we did have a Division three player recently who got into the portal, and it's the first time I've run into this. She made her information available to Division I and Division II, but didn't have her contact information available to Division III, which sent a pretty clear message that her intention was to go from. She was playing at a Division III institution, and so clearly she wants to go to a Division II or more likely a Division I. But we're as far as the portal, we haven't finalized. We haven't landed the jet, is a saying that we use in our program.
Landed the jet.
Landed the jet. So you're on hole 17, 18, and you're even or under, and it's important to land the jet, finish the deal.
I love that.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna use that.
So we haven't gotten a player out of the portal yet, but we have. I'd say we're coming closer to getting a player out of the portal. And this is a unique time in college athletics between the transfer portal and conference realignment and NIL, name, image, and likeness. And coach, you've probably dealt with that a little bit more than I have, being at the D3 level compared to the D1 level. But I admire the coaches who have been able to navigate those changes and keep the priorities of their program, on the front burner. And I think it's a challenging time for colleges in every sport to keep the values of their program front and center when players and families, very logically are a lot more inclined to give a program a try for a year or two. And then if a better deal comes along, they'll move on down the line. And it's just a very unique time. And I'm happy that players are able to benefit now financially from some of the, especially at the Division I level, for all the money that's coming into the institutions. But on the other hand, camp coaching was a lot simpler back, before NIL, before transfer portal, and it was just so much easier to create a program where, the expectation was players were going to be there for 4 years.
That makes sense. I can't imagine recruiting a player and then having them leave after a year. After you've put in a lot of time and energy into that player. I'm sure it would be heartbreaking for somebody to go into the portal.
It's yeah, again, I admire the programs that are able to handle that in such a way where, they empower the student athlete and the student athlete's family, especially financially, um, but are still able to continue to build that family atmosphere where, kids are in it more for just themselves. They're in it for the program and their teammates. And that's one of the wonderful aspects of college golf is
Well, I've met a lot of coaches, and I can say that the two of you on this call really have created a family atmosphere for their players. Like it's a family.
very, very much so.
Yeah, yeah, I see that for sure from the two of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll just add never let it said that our podcasts don't come with amusing little anecdotes. So here's one. I was with my brother-in-law, and I have a bunch of friends in coaching that were in the ACC. So I said to my brother-in-law, look up on the internet, see who's leading the ACC tournament. And so he did, and he comes back and he says Stanford. I said, no, you get the wrong tournament. Stanford's not playing the ACC. Well, apparently they are. That's just California and Oklahoma State and Cal. Uh, it's really, you're right. It's the Wild West out there. I don't think anybody knows what's going to occur with these new alignments with at least in Division I. But it would not surprise me if you see down the road that the Ivy League is just competing against the Ivy League and maybe the Patriot League and exact schools. It just doesn't make much sense to go and get invited to a tournament in Texas against University of Texas when, we're sixth in our own conference, the Ivy League. But
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, your background being in the Ivy League, it's almost a hybrid between the best aspects of Division I and Division III. The Ivy League, for those of you who are watching the webcast who aren't familiar with the financial aspect of the Ivy League, but so the Ivy League has never had athletic scholarships that I'm aware of, and so you've been able to uh, recruit players along with their families, uh, you know, putting the financial aspect on the back burner, and on the front burner, you've got academic excellence, you've got athletic excellence, and then you've got families that are just committed to excellence,
correct.
both academic and athletically. And it's been, I've really treasured the relationships that I've had with the high academic Division I programs, who have been able to, work in a world where, kids are being offered, now literally money, um, and to be able to keep the values of hard work and unselfishness and community and family. There's a lot of coaches out there who have been able to really sell that community aspect, family aspect in their program, regardless of their level. And those are the programs and the coaches that I have a tremendous amount of admiration for.
Let's say you have a girl or a boy, young woman or a young man they're freshmen, let's say you have four, two of each. The freshmen are coming in. How do you onboard them? How do you bring them into your family and your program?
Well, again, the key word being family. It's certainly, um, I've been involved with recruiting them, but they've also met our team. The reason they're here is ideally not, more because of the college, the program, the team, along with the coaching staff, as opposed to just the coaching staff. And so as they come in, typically they've been on campus and they've had their maybe unofficial visit and perhaps an official visit. So they're here because of the relationship that they've developed with our team members already. So by the time they get here, it's already as if they're part of the team. And so if those kids are signing with us before Christmas, it's kind of fun that our players will follow their high school careers or their junior careers and communicate with them, via social media, and encourage them and that kind of thing. So the
So you,
onboarding process, by the time they get here, they've got a pretty good sense of what our program's about. And so the onboarding is now a case of just getting to college, getting into their dorms and getting their schedule and making all the adjustments that first year players, both male and female, have to make. And then their team members tend to be very helpful in making that transition less stressful. And even when it is less stressful, there's a lot of stress that goes behind leaving home and going to college and dealing with all the things that you have to deal with, that no longer, mom and dad no longer take care of the
the
transportation
laundry.
and food and the laundry and this and that. And so it's a big transition, but it's made much more fluid as a result of their relationship with their team members.
So it sounds like your team, your upperclassmen and the people already on your team are connected with them through social media, getting to know them through maybe text messages so that they're becoming, before they're even coming to school, they're already connected to them.
Correct. Yes.
I, I'm curious, you sound a lot like me in the way you go about recruiting guys and girls. Let me ask you this, Coach Skip. What are some of the no-nos that you've come across here, things that could really harm a student athlete's ability to present themselves to you in a position that would uh, enable them to garner entrance to your university?
Not real excited about a kid who misses a shot and throws a club.
Mm.
And so, with that kind of being representative, that the kids are going to have Whitman College on their gear when we're going through an airport or when we're practicing it. We practice at three local courses: a private, a resort, and a public. And we don't expect our kids to be saints, but we do expect them to be very positive ambassadors for the college. And it's one of the beauties of golf. You know, one of my side jobs at Whitman College for a while is I was our club sport director, and I was impressed when I oversaw ultimate frisbee, because it's a sport where kids call, they call violations on themselves. Typically, it's not refereed, and I think, yeah, I think golf really prides itself on integrity and playing by the rules and enforcing the rules and self-administrating the rules. Uh, and so, the no-nos would be, kids who, you know, are just outside the line in terms of being able to handle the frustrations of the game. And so, like I said, we don't expect our kids to be saints, and they're high octane athletes, and so they're certainly going to have a little bit of frustration when they get something more than a bogey. But we certainly value the kids who are already mature enough to handle that with class, and the kids that need to be brought along a little bit, they hopefully that, they can start valuing how they represent themselves and family and the institution a little bit more positive. Uh, I mean, everybody can handle it well when they're winning, when they're playing well. How you handle it when you're struggling is where you see somebody's true colors. And we're certainly going to have some kids who we just say, well, we hope that gal or guy grows up a little bit, but that's not going to be in our program because they're just not far enough along yet to be able to earn the right to wear our jersey.
I think that's so similar to you, Coach Hughes.
Very similar. I've only met Coach Skip for 45 minutes to an hour here, and I can tell you the highest praise I would give another coach is I'd love to play for him.
That's great. So I do have TJ. We've got our board. I've got our board behind us, and what our kids will are on our women's board. This is a goal board that we have as a program, and over in the corner, one of the kids on our goal board wrote, "Don't irritate Amy." Well, Amy's my wife, and things that irritate her. They might be on the golf course, but more likely they're in the restaurant or in the hotel or the airport. And that's that rule. We get a lot of mileage out of that rule. Don't irritate Amy.
That's so funny. She's super sweet. She's
Yeah.
super sweet.
So,
Okay. Well, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you coming in and sharing your stories with us. Don't we, Coach?
So very well put, articulate, and kind of mirrors the same thoughts I had when I used to coach here. Just do the right thing. You're wearing, as you said, the W on their shoulder, on their bags, and on their shirts. And I used to say, you're not only representing Brown, you're representing me. So you had better toe the line. And like I said, that's the best compliment I can give a coach is, yeah, I'd love to suit up for him.
yeah, that's great. Well, you two have, you add the three of us together as far as our years in the profession.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've had some student athletes go through our programs, and hopefully they are as fortunate as we have been to be involved in this profession.
Yeah,
Well,
I bet you we're close to like 150 years together.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm at 45. Coach is probably, I don't know.
coach is 45. You talk about me,
I'm at
45?
45. What are you at?
Oh, how many years?
Years in the
I was
golf
going to say, if
profession.
that's my age, I wish. Well, I started in 1988, so however many years that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, three years shy of 50, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you're sneaking up on that half-century mark, DJ.
No,
I know. But you know what? I think we all have a passion for junior golf. I think we all have a passion for young adults, no matter where our path is taking us. And I know both of you are still involved with your student athletes even way after they graduate. Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
agreed.
That's so that your family's expanding and becoming full circle. Yeah.
Well, Skip, I hope we run into each other down the road a piece, maybe at the coaches convention. If you ever get over to Vegas, I go every year usually.
I am going to go to that this year, so I'll make sure that we connect.
Appreciate
Great.
that.
DJ,
Really
thanks a
loved
lot.
having you on.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.